Cassar. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Just As Planned Weddings and Podcast TV show, where we unveil the secrets behind crafting unforgettable weddings. I'm Nathan Cassar, your dedicated host and professional wedding MC as always, and today we have a truly special guest joining us, Cristina Orozco, better known as DJ Lavida, the maestro behind some of the most sensational events in the industry. DJ Lavida isn't just your average DJ. She's a force of nature, infusing every event with her dynamic energy and unparalleled talent. From rocking the decks at prestigious sporting events such as the FIFA Women's World Cup and the Australian Open, to curating magical moments at intimate weddings, DJ Lavida's expertise knows no bounds. But her artistry extends beyond the turntables. With over 200 events per year under her belt, yes, that is correct, 200 events per year. She's a seasoned show caller and event producer as well, orchestrating seamless experiences that leave a lasting impression. Drawing from her background as a drummer, she adds a modern twist to her sets, infusing electronic beats and collaborating with live musicians to truly create unforgettable moments. Today, we're diving deep into the world of event entertainment with DJ Lavida, exploring topics like the importance of personalization and music selection, the value of investing in high-quality AV equipment, and the delicate balance between traditional and innovation in crafting the ultimate wedding experience. Plus, we'll uncover how DJ Lavida celebrates diversity and inclusivity, ensuring that every couple's love story is reflected in the music. So if you're ready to turn up the volume on your wedding day and learn from one of the industry's brightest stars and the best around, you're in for a treat. Cristina, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Oh, wow. What an intro. You're good.
I wish I had more of it. I mean, I look forward to the corporate events you and I get to work together hopefully soon, because, those are the ones where I can it's a bit weird to introduce a DJ with that kind of intro to wedding, but like at a corporate event, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, to the stage, your featured DJ for tonight. I believe I love intros for people because I think people deserve attention. The night's being curated. That's why I love at a wedding, we were just working together a couple months back, that intros are really important. You're introducing the couples or the bridal party entrance or the speech makers or anything else in between. People sort of have to know what's happening. And I guess, a podcast isn't any different. And I want people to be excited for your expertise today. Now, you're beaming in live from overseas, correct?
Yes, I am currently in Singapore for the minute, but I am Sydney based. I just visit Singapore a lot for family.
That's great to have you. It's the magic of the power of the modern era, right? Where we can do these kind of calls and connect like this, even though you're from abroad. And it's a great pleasure to have you on. I do mean everything I said in that intro. It's been a pleasure working with you so far, and I know that you just know your stuff. So I'm really excited for our listeners today to really dive into something that, look, let's face it, a lot of people sometimes I've heard it all. Some DJs I've spoken to, perhaps even yourself, they'll put forward okay, so I bring this equipment and I do this and I have this, and then you put forward all of this, and then the couple says, yeah, but that doesn't really matter. I just want you to play music. And of course, your brain is going, oh, it's just not exactly that. It's such an oversimplification. So let's speak into that first. What is the value in investing in high quality AV equipment, and how does it exactly elevate the ambience and contribute to the wedding success?
Yeah, and great question too. That it actually goes hand in hand with having the best and that's everything from your intros, bridal is also quality. You don't want to have tinny speakers and then you can barely hear what's happening, or just having limited amount of speakers in such a huge room, and some people just can't capture what has just been heard in the most crucial moment of the wedding, apart from the ceremony. But when they are doing their first speeches, family members chatting from the heart, everyone wants to hear that piece of moment, to especially the dance floor. The quality of the speakers is so important for me, because I come from a very extensive events background, and I've seen it all, where it really just contributes to the overall success of the event by the ambience. Like you can't have a dance floor if it sounds restaurant quality, and therefore some certain songs might be like really pushing through the restaurant quality ceiling speakers, but then the lower bass of like some cool songs, things that get you grooving and moving, like things that people like really attuned to when it comes to music. They won't hear that. What they're going to instead be hearing, they're going to be distracted by something that sounds muffly or like it's starting to break, or just I mean, like I can't verbalize it because it's a sound, but it just sounds like your speaker's about to break, and it's like you've just gotten you're trying to push through a fun, energetic experience through very tiny, tinny speakers. And this doesn't just go for ceiling speakers. Like there are some venues that do invest in some really, really good speaker sound systems, which is awesome, and that's a tick, and that makes everyone's life amazing. But then other venues, they might be heritage listed and they are gorgeous from like, you know, a standpoint, and that's absolutely fine. You just bring in standalone equipment to just match that ambience. You don't want to, you know, have so much invested in your styling and your amazing MC who then, you know, can't use
It's awful. You're
yeah.
right on the money there. I mean, at the end of the day, that ambience is, I've even seen on the opposite spectrum where, you know, you have one extreme, which is the songs are all distorted and hitting the top ends, and all that sort of, you know, juice of the song is lost. And then you've got the other side of it, which is those in-house speakers are not loud enough. They just don't have that energy or output in order to, particularly if they're coming from high ceilings, to be able to really reach that dance floor and energize and sort of cut through to people's soul, kind of, so to speak. And so because of that, the amount of times I've heard people come up to me saying, can you tell the DJ to turn it up? And it's like, that is as loud as it goes, because they're patched into their system and you didn't pay for their speaker package. So what else can you do? No, and I can't imagine how hurtful it must be when you've had to be in that situation, knowing it can be better, but they've opted to go in a different direction for the sake of saving money, but then your product is diluted as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you don't want to be seen as like, oh, you know, DJ sounded bad, but it's like the speakers sounded bad. It's not necessarily what we may have played. But and also with that, sometimes some couples may absolutely not know or understand the world of AV, and that's absolutely okay. And then that's where I love to kind of give that extra level of service, where I kind of just find out, all right, what's your venue? What's your sort of floor plan layout? How many people you're expecting? And then on like a very top liner visualization, I can kind of just help educate them on the differences. Like maybe it might be an experience like, oh, yep, I've played at X venue and it required this based on this event. Or it could be, a learning curve from in my early years, like, oh, yeah, I played at this venue where we relied on this and then this happened. You don't want to have that same mistake. That's where it's important.
Yeah, and it really does, you know, show the difference between an experienced DJ versus someone in, you know, moving into the industry. And of course, you know, it's obviously, as you say, it's totally okay if couples out there obviously have different day jobs that don't have anything to do with production or lighting or sound. But I think, you know, definitely a theme that's been over the course of this entire season so far has been, you know, leveraging your vendor experience and expertise, such as what you just described. So there's one takeaway is talk to your DJs and talk to them before you book them to see how much they know, because you may get some little tidbits like that you never expected. Now, speaking of then them talking to you, so it's one aspect to say, is this person, you know, we're going to interview them for a potentially bit, we like their vibe, but like, is there, you know, they're technically, they seem to got the goods. But then when it comes to, you know, your ability to actually personalize the wedding to the couple's needs and to make it really their wedding as opposed to the last one you did, et cetera, et cetera. So walk us through how, you know, you personally and DJs in general should be tailoring music choices to match their unique styles. Basically, just how important is, you know, personalizing music playlists in the first place?
I would say absolutely important. If anything, that's my number one priority, personalization, because, you know, no two weddings are the same. It's the essence of two people that have fallen in love and they have invited the nearest and dearest. And I want to know, like, what's your background? Who are you guys? What constitutes of this beautiful group that you have here, you guys as a couple, like what era are we going to go to in terms of 2000s music, 90s, like what's your favorite? Because to me, it's about them. It's the soundscapes of their special day. And I take pride in being an open format DJ, which means that I play everything. And I've really honed in my skills of playing every genre, and I can mix and mash between each genre on the fly. So with that skill set, I love to offer personalization because it's really about the couple's unique personality and style at the end of the day for their wedding day. It's not about me being at a club headlining or anything like that. That's a whole other thing. It's weddings. Weddings is their day, not my day. I just am, a piece of the recipe that constitutes of their day, and I try to be a good one too. So personalization is super important because I want them to feel like it is their most important day and nothing takes it away from that at all, inclusive of music. If anything, it's just complementary to that and trying to enhance it as best as possible. That's everything. Quality.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's cultural things that come through, like traditions as well. I love incorporating that too. Everything that makes it unique or memorable too. Music is super important, and it takes
people that, because I've had some couples, right, that have one is a big metalhead, right, and and there's a little sub part of the dance floor that really is into it, but obviously grandma doesn't really appreciate it much, and the bride or the groom or the opposite partner doesn't really care for it either, and so they got their friends that don't really care so much. But of course, as you're trying to blend all of that as well. So in those sort of moments of not conflict, just sort of musical dissonance, so to speak, how do you blend? I'm sure you've been in this position before. How do you personally approach that?
Yeah, good question. And I do get this a lot. Some people love, like you said, the metalheads. They can be rock, and then they also have all the nearest and dearest oldies, so you don't want to scare them away, and there's so many different demographics there. So I reckon it comes down to experience, and I kind of make it a bit of a show, taking on all these elements. Like for example, to metalhead person number one versus someone who loves maybe Tay-Tay, totally different, right? Or not. What I usually do is I always like to cater maybe to a wide demographic first. So I do a bit of like the classics, obviously based on the music that they give me, and then also I sort of segue into moments, to special moments that then ticks off all the boxes. For example, if I see that we can maybe segue seamlessly into a rock song, or there's like a rock pop song that then can maybe seamlessly segue into like a rock moment, then I'm not afraid to get on a mic. Mind you, I'm not a professional MC. I'm a DJ.
But I've heard you go at it. It's great. You're like, I love it. You're like, let's get ready to go for this song. It's so good.
I'd love to it's more of like a hype. It's more of a hype because I get into my own things, and I love communicating that and engaging with the audiences there. So with that in mind, I get on the mic, and then I shout it out. I'm like, person X, he loves metal rock, so let's like encourage this, and then get and dance for it. If you love it or don't love it, just like I just really encourage them to just get into the moment regardless of their personal music taste. But I also make it a special point to not play metal rock the entire night, because then that does get, it's more about pockets of these important moments. If I could bring it back later on, then great, because then I'll be analyzing, is this more of a metalhead crowd or is this more of a other piece crowd? But I kind of engage with different music styles and weave through them, making sure that there's always a dance floor, and then I pick up on cues such as that, and I will always make to your point, I'll make little moments happen on the dance floor by getting the mic and making them feel special with their favorite music. And it could just be a medley of 3-4 songs back to back or less, depending the vibe. And then I do the same with the other genre. Maybe I'll do a back to back. Like sometimes I play games with this. Like sometimes I'll be like, all right, we're going to go all out with metal rock. Now we're going to go for the Tay-Tay fans. Who's going to scream the loudest? Like, and then it's more about having fun with the dance floor in that sense. So yeah, it's less about perfectly mixing in that sense, but more about delivering a great immersive show via DJing based on their tailored music list. So yeah, I hope that answers that.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I've seen this, in motion. It's like poetry when I've seen you accomplish this ability to bring people from different parts of the room sort of in and out of the dance floor, as opposed to, I think, a common misconception, which is, I get what this sentence is referring to, but I hear a lot of couples say we want everybody on the dance floor.
Yes.
And I get a little sort of like, oh, worried, not because I don't think it's possible, but because it doesn't necessarily, the word everybody is so loaded with that as a statement. And so obviously I'm not the one spinning the tracks, but certainly, those conversations I have with DJs like yourself in the lead up to that is, and of course they have with you, the couples, is an interesting one. And you really did sort of lay it out there, but that's a great strategy to go behind it. And look, to be perfectly frank, all of that sense of experience and your ability to weave that in, all the best expertise when it comes to AV equipment, not gonna lie, that sounds, and I'm probably saying this out loud for those listening, that sounds expensive. So the question I have is this: why does quality matter? In the sense that, one sense, people obviously want to get the best deal, but you're clearly describing something that will, you've done these big headline events, you've done big weddings, you've done small ones, you've had such a great repertoire. So what is up and what can work, and your value, just like many other DJs do, just as many other vendors do. So what is the pitfalls perhaps in hiring a DJ just solely on price? So how do people balance that sort of expertise they're getting from you versus the personalized service and the AV and everything, and still feel comfortable at the end of the day, knowing that the money they're putting across the line is going to be worth it, even if it is a little bit over their budget?
Yeah, absolutely. The way I love to answer this question is they're basically investing in quality, one, and investing in experience. They're not just paying a price tag just because, they're getting substance behind those two, and it is very obviously shown from some of the examples I've shared earlier. But then also it's a matter of like knowing you're in the best of hands for any contingencies, especially unforeseen contingencies. That could mean like touching on AV, if something breaks down, an inexperienced DJ may or may not know how to quickly fix it or go with a band-aid. But like I've had everything happen to me, and I've learned from like people accidentally spilling beers on like my laptop, or or just equipment shutting down because I understand that loading too much on one like fuse will blow up everything. Like, some people may not know that, they'll just see like a socket and they load everything on there. But I'm like, you're investing in experience for someone to really, as much as possible, mitigate any foreseeable issues from their expert field. And that's what comes with me. I also am very detail orientated in approach, where I've got booking forms, I've got music briefs, like very much giving them that VIP service, not just giving them my price and be like, I'll see you in the week of, and not taking additional time and considerations for their wants and needs from a music standpoint and more. So that's already accounted for. The pricing is not just about how long you're going to be there, and then maybe I just shave off half an hour because you'll be cheaper there. It's like, no, there's so many hours input into this pre-getting to this point. And that's the biggest, it's 50-50, it goes hand in hand. So there is that versus, the others that may not come with all of those skill sets at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's a sense of delayed gratification that a lot of us creatives like you and I and a few others in the wedding game that are offering something that is less tangible and more descriptive and promised, and then on the day, of course, we're executing and then providing the memories and the sort of the more tangibilities of what our creative craft is all about. And so it's that, I would argue and speak on both of our behalves and many others like us, that to add to your point, that essentially the price that you're paying is is essentially the culmination of all that prep time, so that we're getting appropriately compensated for the efforts that we're going to be putting in beforehand, and we're going to be trying to mitigate all those issues that you described. And then also, of course, that on the day itself, that all that culmination of the preparation is coming to the most beautiful fruition possible, so that those intangibles are then present on the dance floor when you have grandma dancing with your youngest cousin, and you just think, I've captured every single person, we've got them to this moment, and these memories are now, the photographer swoops in and click, takes the camera, takes the
Yeah.
shot, and you know that every choice you made was perfect throughout that moment. So up until that day. So I think, yeah, look, I petition for that. But I think I can also speak for us when we know that that may not always be the case, you know, that in terms of where the money can go. And so I think at the end of the day, it is about just balancing what you feel most comfortable with going into the day versus not having paid for it.
Correct. And on that as well, like you're spot on. If it's like slightly over the budget or something, obviously where it just open conversation. Sometimes there might be a solution that I could probably help facilitate to meet closer to that budget. Obviously, everything within reason, of course, but there is always solutions to things, and it's just having an open, honest conversation and providing that to help make their dream day a reality.
Absolutely. And you know, we spoke a bit, but we spoke a lot about before about the difference between different music genres. But I guess one other big component is actually sort of cultural genres, because they sort of sit separately, right?
Yes.
There's it's now with a lot of mixed weddings and blended weddings these days. It's obviously, you know, couples come to me, I'm sure they come to you quite frequently saying, I want to respect both sides of the family, which is obviously incredibly beautiful. But it can be challenging about where to prioritize certain music, how long to play, which ones to play, and of course whether or not you have that music, or you know, as a DJ personally, know how to weave those songs in and so forth. So how does a DJ like yourself incorporate this kind of inclusivity and diversity throughout the night, so that you don't have anybody complaining that one side of the family was prioritized over another?
Yeah, 100%. And diversity, inclusivity, you know, embracing cultural traditions, they're actually my favorite, because that they just I don't know. I've got I'm also Latin, so I've got like a cultural side. So I get it, whether you're European, you know, Latin American as well. I love it because I get it, and I value culture, and of course diversity and inclusivity as well. I celebrate everything. So the way that I obviously talk to the couples. I get an understanding of what the tradition is, when things maybe happen. Obviously, we talk about certain musics ahead of the time. This all comes hand in hand in the preparation work. I will download all the songs. I ask them for perhaps Spotify playlist links or YouTube links, because I understand that certain songs or traditional songs, there may be so many different variations out there in the internet. But then I ask them, like, okay, you let me know, link me to exactly the ones that are what you want, whether it be in Indian music or something Croatian or Greek or Italian. I've done all of those, so I most likely will have the songs, but I always cross-check, and it's all about your run sheet in that sense. It's more about when is all of this sort of happening for any traditional sense, but then incorporating just dance music in said cultural backgrounds. I approached a similar strategy to the genre thing. I make it inclusive. I bring the crowds in. I kind of hype them up, and we just have fun with this cultural music, and then versus the other cultural music. So it all weaves in and out from each other quite strategically. And yeah, it all is in the magic of prep work. As long as I have all the songs downloaded, I can play them on cue, even if they want to just play it like right then and there. I would have couples come up and they're like, let's go into Hindi now. And I'm like, done, let's do it. And then it's just a matter of like, it could be even that the dance was fully going at it. They're loving ABBA or something right now, and they're ready to go into the Indian. I'm like, let's do it. The vibe is high. I come in, I say, you guys are freaking loving it. Let's go into some Hindi and like bring up this vibe. I make it such a positive transition. And that's how then we play a couple of cultural music in that sense. I weave it in and out. So making, again, to the point of, making it special and curating those special moments comes part of the art of I guess my experience in DJing too. And that's how I like to approach it: prep work and moments.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I think that that's a perfect recipe for success. Particularly, I think one thing I see you do that I don't see too often, and it only becomes from the fact that you have that such broad stroke experience, understanding the value of the smallest details, is those introductions of we're transitioning everybody now into something else. Be ready for it. I think there's nothing worse than, you know, an audience, and this applies to having a DJ with less experience, or perhaps definitely like a Spotify playlist or something where people are just using the phone like a jukebox, and it can be a little jarring, that idea that you go from one, like you said, ABBA, and then straight into the Hindi medley. It's like, well, hang on, you know, people aren't really, not primed for it, and so having that hype beforehand makes people go, oh, okay, all right, I'll vibe this. Yes, I thank you for acknowledging that I was dancing really well to that one, and now I'm willing to stick around a little bit longer because you respect my time on the dance floor. And so
yeah, you're basically welcoming them to that transition, and they agree, already feeling good on the dance floor. So it's always a recipe for success going into those transitions.
Absolutely. Well, look, Christina, you know that both you and I, we could talk forever. We, you know, we're very aligned in the way that we approach our weddings. So it's been a pleasure having you here. But I do want to ask you a couple of just very quick questions. Whatever top comes to your mind is how we always end our shows for this season. So, first immediate thing that comes to mind, one of the top trends that you're seeing in weddings in 2024.
Oh, top trends in 2024. From music or just like anything?
Anything that pops to mind. Could be something in the DJ realm, could be otherwise.
Gotcha. I have actually started seeing a lot of those. Top thing that comes to mind at the moment, phone guest books. I'm seeing a lot of that popping up a lot at the weddings. I know this is very simple, but it was the first thing you wanted me to answer, the first thing that popped up. Yeah, it's a lot of that. Destination weddings has obviously been a thing, but yeah, the phone guest books, that just was the first thing that popped into mind.
I'm so glad you say that, because I'm not sure whatever time we end up making this go live, but I'm hoping by the time this goes live, I'll have an announcement out with my own one as well. So because I love the trend, right? I love the idea of being able to, you know, in 2024, we're moving forward, and where, you know, you go from writing things down, which people still do, right? But it's so fun to see people pick up those phones, leave a message, and I can imagine what it must feel like on the day afterwards, and having to, you know, sit in bed and you're listening to all the phone calls and people said things to you, like, amazing. Like, I think it's good pick on that one.
There you go. You're with the trends, Nate.
Oh, well, hey, you know what? You and I both, you know, we've got to be trendy from time to time. Do you prefer a waterside wedding or a country wedding?
Oh my goodness, that's tough. I cannot decide on that.
Fair enough.
Because I'm a surfer, if I can squeeze in a surf, well, like, you know, maybe the day after, if I'm at said destination, water. But I personally got married and it was country. So there you go.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. I think you have a fair reason to be down the middle on that one. So
yeah.
I'll give you that. That's fair enough. A final question: what is your guiding star? What is your why for doing all of this?
The why? Great question. I guess, I've never really thought of it in that sense. I love what I do in life. Like, music is my life, hence Lavida is actually Spanish for the life. And I love doing it because I just love making other people's amazing, you know, whether it's events or weddings, just, I don't know, I guess I'm a lot more of a service person, and I love making them feel good in that sense. And being a good one. I think deeper to that, I grew up in like a small Central American country where not many people would have had these opportunities. So I've come to this country thanks to Mummy O, who has given me this opportunity to just like follow my heart with things that I like, and music is my passion, and just be a good one at it. So it's just more like trying to live the best that I can with a passion that that I love the most, which is music, DJing, and events. And just, living that to the fullest, like, which is such a privilege. So many people don't get to live every day and work at a job or do something that they love. So I love having that opportunity to do it, and I guess that's my why. It's because
Perfect answer. Couldn't obviously can't fault you because it's yours. But yeah, no, that is amazing. I'm so glad to hear that, and it shows. It shows obviously when you're doing your work.
Very passionate.
Well, Cristina, look, we've come to the end of our time, but I'd love, of course, for people to know exactly how to find you. What time is it there in Singapore, by the way?
Oh, it's only 2 hours behind from Sydney.
Oh, right. Okay, good. I was worried for a second. Like, I'm calling in at 4 o'clock in the morning. So if people can find you, no matter what time zone you're in, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, Instagram or email. Those are probably the top best. So Instagram's just at DJ Lavida, and email is info@djlavida.com. But yeah, Instagram's probably the best form if you want to have a little sneak peek about me and if you like my services. There's lots of links, lots of videos out there, and let's chat. Always happy to have a chat.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to our next one. I hope our listeners get a real kick out of engaging with you and your content, and I hope that they see the value as I do in what the point of difference you bring to the industry. So thank you for your time and your expert insights.
Thanks so much, Nathan. Really appreciate it. I look forward to working with you again at a wedding for sure.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Just As Planned Wedding Podcast. Please like and subscribe to let me know that you want more videos just like this one. And of course, please follow us on our socials at Just As Planned Wedding on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more expert insights to help your wedding go just as planned.